Is it working? No. Huh? Go ahead now. Hello? There I go. All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jared, this says we're muted. Can they hear us online?
Okay. Yes, Jared, can you do the microphone around for audience introductions? Oh, yeah, it is. I can feel a breeze. My face.
Brandy Bordeaux, resident of Peru.
Brian Bordeaux, Peru taxpayer.
Sherman Berdeen, Carthage taxpayer.
Gina Clucci, director of nutrition.
Mary Ann Hutchinson, Rumford Times.
Joe Scott.
Deja Yannon. Caitlin Scott. Sophia Poulin.
I'm Chastity Todd, Joseph's mom.
Joey.
Hey, welcome everyone. We have adjustments to the agenda besides the one written down. I'm going to add the student report so she can get back to practice. Could I have a motion? Oh, so we have to do roll call. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call?
Dawn,
Yes.
Larry, Kathleen,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes.
Tim, Natalie,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Liz.
Yes. All right. Student report.
Okay, so the semester ends on Friday for students. Sports are going well. Girls basketball is 2-6 with a game against Spruce Mountain tomorrow, and the boys basketball is 6-2 with a game against Booth Bay tonight. And wrestling and Nordic skiing are going well, and that's all I have.
Thank you. All righty. Public comment. This is the time oh, sorry, I'm jumping off the minutes because I went out of line. Minutes of the December 12th, 2023 board meeting. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
A second.
Comments, questions, revisions? Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I'd like to make again a motion that I was not said anything about my comments in there, and I did send Pam a copy of the comments. And I would like to see them in their reflected in the minutes.
I believe that was from the time before and they were added in.
No, I sent in both of them. I sent in both the ones that I read, and then neither one of have been existed. I talked to you about December 12th, and we even had correspondence about it.
Okay.
But there's nothing in the minutes about anything about my comments, and I'd like to see them reflected in the minutes.
Okay, so is it just one meeting, Larry? Just
December
the,
12th, blank.
just the,
Correct.
okay. All right, they will get done. Any other comments or questions, revisions? Seeing none, roll call?
Dawn,
Yes.
Larry,
No.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes.
Tim, Natalie,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Liz.
Yes. Okay. Get them out of the way. All right, this is the time for public comment. People can make comments. We may not have an answer for you at this point. We are respectful. We do not talk about personnel or specific students or anything. We can talk about procedures, protocols. So you said someone, how many? All right, I'm going to start with the first online. State your name first, please. Okay. I can't. All right, so Kelly, if she comes back, we'll get him. All right, if you want to speak, you need to come up to the mic and state your name. Go ahead, come on up, Brandy.
Hi, I'm Brandy Bordeaux. I have some notes on my phone. Bob Dylan said it well. Times they are a changin'. Some think for the better and some think for the worst. I think we can all agree we want our children safe. I believe most of us can also agree that it is unsafe for a 13-year-old girl and a high school boy to be in the same bathroom. We had a situation with both students did not feel comfortable in our buildings. We can change this. I have a couple ideas I'd like the board and the community to consider. Number one would be installing doors or locks on our bathrooms. What this looks like is some of our bathrooms are single use with a door. Some are a line of stalls and a line of sinks. Some of those have a door already on them. All we'd have to do is put a lock, one person in at a time. At the elementary school, they are completely open. There's no door. We just need a door and a lock. The other idea is what Jason Long's already doing sometimes. He is sitting in the bathroom and letting one person go in at a time. This won't be a solution for all the areas. This is just a start. And I would like parents, grandparents, community members, aunts, uncles, please bombard RSU56 with meetings, calls, emails, and let's make all children safe.
You mentioned just gonna comment because Jason had been there, but there are, because I got an email from Jason today. During activities after school, there will be a lock is being put in. I don't know, she can tell you more about. And that during after school activities, it's a single-use bathroom.
Yes, I've talked with Jason. I appreciate that. I'd like to see it in all of our schools for all children.
Anyone else? No one else? Thank you for coming. Where are we at? Communications. Oh, this is the only time that public comment is not on the agenda. So if anybody wants to talk, please speak now. No one else? All right, I just want to make sure. Thank you. All right, communications.
So the board did receive a letter from the Maine Library Association, which I forwarded to all board members. The letter was imploring the RSU56 school board to not move forward with restricting library books in the district. I also received 2 emails from parents, Brandy Bordeaux and Sherman Bradeen, with concerns regarding the bathroom use at the middle school. Both were responded to with information that RSU56 will follow the laws concerning bathroom choice and that athletes can utilize the locker rooms during games. Additionally, like all public restrooms, parents can escort their children to the public restrooms if they feel it necessary, as they would be in a public setting. Additionally, we have added the locks at the middle school because that seems to be where the issue is coming from, so that they are not on the doors yet, but because of the storm day yesterday, but they are there. So the doors will have locks put on it, so there'll be single use after school activity time, during after school activity time. And that's the correspondence that I had.
All right, thank you. New business.
So we had talked earlier in the year about the 2 days that we missed due to the horrible mass shooting in Lewiston. And then we had 2 more days that we missed due to flooding right before the break. So I'm at the point where I'm wondering if the board would like to consider having me ask the state for a waiver for, and I would do it in 2 sections. Could we have a waiver for the 2 days during the mass shooting? And then could we have a waiver for the 2 days of flooding? So I just want to be clear that those waivers would mean those 4 days of school are waived completely. So we would not be making them up on the other end of the school year. The only concern that I have in bringing it forward now is that it's only January 17th and we have missed a number of days already. So I'm worried that we will extend beyond I do not want to extend beyond June 14th because we can't move our graduation, which is June 6th. And our seniors have to be within 5 days of graduation. So again, we could wait until closer to spring if we wanted to ask for the waiver, but I thought it might be prudent to at least come to the board and say, do you want me to ask to see if we can have those 4 days waived? And then, if our school year was extended beyond the 14th, we would simply waive those 4 days. And if not, we would try to get them all in before the June 14th.
Brad first, then Liz.
Yeah, I would certainly support ask for a waiver. I think the distinction would be, for the flooding, which made it impossible for us to do anything. That seems like a no-brainer. Without being callous, the shooting could be a question mark. I still think we asked for those days to be waived, but if we had to give up, it would be certainly, we could have chosen to be in school, as tough as that situation was. But yes, I think when we have emergencies like that, and is it fair to say that if those days are waived, we're not going to be held to having to stay additional days?
So our students are supposed to come to school for 175 days. If those 4 days are waived, they would in effect come to school for 171 days this school year. Without consequence if the DOE waives them.
I
So
think that's
again,
appropriate.
as your superintendent, I would say to put in for a waiver, and I would even put in the letter, like, if this extended us beyond June 14th, we would like these 4 days waived. If we can get 175 days in before June 14th, I would suggest we get 175 days in. But I think we just should have that maybe lined up in case we can't, so that people know that that's the end of school, regardless of what happens.
Liz?
Yeah, she just answered the question I was gonna ask.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? So what you're saying is you can apply for it, but say, listen, if we can go up to there, we'll do it. If not, we need them.
Yes, I'd be very clear that this is like a 3-part request. One, we're requesting a waiver for the 2 days that we were out during the mass shooting incident. And I would request that they consider 2 days during flooding, and that we would only be using them if we went beyond June 14th.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that Pam requests the waiver for those 4 days, as she's stated.
Yep. Second, Tim, comments or question? Seeing none, roll call?
John,
Yes.
Larry, Kathleen,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes.
Tim, Natalie,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Liz.
Yes.
Shut it off. I'm going to pass out, we were given a survey and pass it around. Oh. Can you put that up? No.
Do you have a copy that you can email or put up?
Oh, yeah, we got that too.
Jared, if I share this survey with you, can you put it up?
Oh, did you?
Okay, it's just in a Google form, so.
Right.
The first question was, the RSU 56 board has a strategic plan with vision and goals. Sorry. RSU 56 board has a strategic plan with vision and goals. And so the responses were 50% partially agree, 40% agree, and 10% partially disagree. And then there were comments of working on them, good effort working on it, and we're working on a strategic plan. I'm concerned that this plan is going to be more like a window dressing and a feel-good measure as opposed to creating an opportunity for true excellence.
So review, discussion too?
If you want discussion, this is the time. for it.
Okay, so, I think I wrote working on them. I don't remember. It is working on them and I missed the Saturday thing and I haven't seen, they did the, what do you call it, right? The, surveys.
The survey and the community forum information will be reviewed at the next strategic plan meeting on
Which
Monday.
is
Next
Monday.
Monday.
Okay, any other comments on that one? Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah. And that was sent out to everybody,
This survey?
the survey.
The survey went to every mailbox in Canton, Carthage, Dixfield, and Peru. It's been on our website. It went out to all the staff and students at the high school and staff across the district, students at the high school and the middle school.
Okay, any other comments on that? Okay,
The second part says the RSU 56 board follows the code of conduct, policy BCA during board meetings. There was 55.6% that partially agreed, 33.3% that agreed, and 11.1% that partially disagree. And the comments were, we have a board with a variety of viewpoints, and most of the time, board members are respectful of one another. This is an area to continue to work on. We have our moments not followed. And I do believe that most board members try to adhere to reasonable conduct. I'm concerned that historically there has been a culture of play nice, so we have tendencies to not say what needs to be said. I am not advocating for perpetual disagreements, but that all board members feel free to address issues head on as best as they can articulate their positions.
okay. And this is from our perspective because we used to have one where they'd say, I'll meet you outside. I'm serious, when
That's
I
just
first got
dumb,
on.
like, really.
All right, any other for two? Okay, go to three.
Number 3 was the RSU 56 board has a working process for policy development and implementation. Gonna pause. 100% agreed. And the comments were, the policies that have been voted on and accepted are the outcome of discussions at policy meetings and with the approval of the RSU 56 school board. Ample opportunity has been given for the public to be part of that process. Barb has done a good job making sure that we are keeping policies up to date and that all stakeholders are involved in reviewing policies that impact their areas. I would have appreciated more orientation to our particular board.
I know who said that one. Well, you said it, it's true. It is true. You know, it's hard when you go broad and then we don't do the working part. Any questions on 3 or comments?
Yes.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is the board member who made that last comment about orientation willing to out themselves?
Oh, yeah, she did.
Okay,
Yes.
I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
She
Um,
already mentioned to it and I agreed
you-
with her.
Can you say why, what you were meaning to our particular board?
We got a framework for overview, but I didn't know how this particular board operates. So when does the agenda come out and how can we alter it? And I'm not thinking, but the specifics of how this board operates.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when we do the orientation and they do a very broad,
Right.
you know, like state of Maine but they don't do the brass tactics of, okay, this is how we do it. First reading, second reading, read how you do it. And like with agendas, how they get on, what we do.
That's like the chair's job, right?
No, they're not actually says in the policy, it's,
Oh, I see. Throw her under the bus. Okay. Yeah.
Just to add,
use your, thing. Yes.
it is hard when you're the first ones, like Kathleen and I, our first time on. A lot of, initials that get used, and the protocol, we're not sure of. Sometimes we jump in when we shouldn't. Sometimes we go back home and text each other and say, what the heck did this mean? Did you get this? Because nobody really wants to feel stupid and ask, okay, what did that initial mean? But, yeah, everybody, the board is very good about helping out, filling in if you ask. But I was surprised when I first got on that with the new members, that it just went right into, there was no, hello, newbies. Can we help you with anything? This is how it works. Because the protocol of when you can talk, when you cannot talk, and when you can comment and when you can't comment, kind of took us by surprise.
There's no
and-
hand holding here.
Excuse me.
Nobody's going to handhold you.
I think I read the fine print and you didn't, Brett?
Asking questions. Yes, it is true. You're like thrown in cold turkey
Right.
into something.
And talking about stuff that was history prior to us. And I abstained from voting on some because I have no clue. I
Yeah.
can't vote because I wasn't here at the time
Yeah.
of that.
Me
But
too.
it's only been a few months. It's all making sense, but yeah.
The acronyms never change. We used to have an acronym cheat sheet, but there's so many acronyms.
Yeah, right.
Education world likes to put everything in acronyms.
Yeah.
And and you'll go, okay, what does that mean? So
Well,
that's,
everybody told me when I got on school board, oh, that's gonna be so boring. Why would you want to be on school board? It's all facts and figures. That's all it is.
oh,
Okay.
that's the budget.
Have I got news for them now to take back? But yeah, other than that, but maybe when we get new members come on, hey, actually Kathleen and I might fill them in as to how it
More
works.
than one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That, okay, don't sit here with your mouth open going, what?
I think Joy just hit on a really good procedure. Whoever's only been here for a year gets the new people the next year to just tutor them in.
Well, we used to have the
I still don't know what learning results signifies of Maine or whatever.
Oh, the main learning results?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes, because they change frequently. But that's true. We're on number 4, right?
The RSU 56 board provides fiscal and resource management oversight. 90% agree, 10% partially agreed. And the comment is the board is central to the budget process and negotiations of contracts that outline salaries and benefits.
That's not my comment. I didn't comment. Any comments on this? I think we do a really good job, and especially the new people, it is very hard to figure out school budgets. It's like a whole entity unto itself, how you do it, how they vote, what category changes every year. So that is difficult. And thank God we have good administrators that help with
I was
that.
going to say, thankfully, Pam and her team have a clue what's going on.
Yes.
That's good.
And we do have a good finance committee, so we kind of do that. All right, anybody else have anything on that one? Number 5.
The RSU 56 board provides oversight of curriculum and instruction. 55.6% agree, 44.4% partially agree. Comments include the curriculum that has been put in place is reflected by the dedication and insight of our professional teaching staff at RSU 56. They have taken the time to research and use best teaching practices to develop a curriculum that will give all our students the opportunity to gain skills and a practical and individual thought process to become better citizens of the world. The work of the curriculum committee is really important in this area. I've learned a lot by attending curriculum committee meetings. Don't know that yet.
It's not me.
I do believe that we certainly have the responsibility and authority to oversee curriculum, but there is a substantial disconnect between the varied acumen of each board members and the professional staff who are formally trained in instruction. The constant pushback to trust the professionals creates a tension that does not readily inform the board enough and puts community expectations at odds with the status quo.
Comments on that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Larry.
The constant pushback to trusted professionals is definitely not a positive term. I think we should put trust in our professionals. That's why they were hired. They were hired with that. They were hired because they are professionals, and to see that it's worrisome. And it just sends the wrong message to the community that we do not have trusted professionals, and that's just not the case. And so I have trouble with that comment, just because the community awareness of that.
I can comment because I made.
I know.
Larry and I's comments are actually somewhat different. The trust of professionals was not meant to be a positive statement. It was meant to be exactly what it sounds like. I always think that trust but verify is very important. It doesn't mean there's an inherent lack of trust in our professionals, because if anybody listens to my words here, I believe we have great professionals here. We have a great team here. I think that the board needs to not wander through the board meetings oblivious and quote unquote trusting everybody to always do the right thing. Our community at this point is telling us there's some things that they're dissatisfied with and they want us to check into. So that does mean questioning the professionals, and the professionals, if they are doing their job, should be able to answer those questions in a fairly satisfactory manner. And I feel that most times they actually do. I think it's rare that there is an unsatisfactory or non-answer. So that's really what my perspective was. We do need their opinions, because God knows there isn't one of us here, probably, with the exception of maybe Barb and Tim, who have been in education. Well, sorry, Liz, who've been in education, and Larry, more people than I would think, have been in education a long time. And if we didn't have those perspectives, I think we'd be in trouble.
No, that's, and my comment on this is also, even the year before, I'd be the only one there sometimes, and I'm not really, as the chair, I can be an de facto, but if we have an active, it really gets involved. And yes, you trust professionals, but when they're coming to you for your approval, you do your homework and you listen. And I really commend Jason, because he's getting things done and he really comes and he listens. So I think we're going in a very positive role with the curriculum. I really do. Yes, he does. All right. Any other questions, comments? Natalie, don't forget, I didn't forget you. Is she still there?
I'm here. I'm just muted.
Okay. I want to make sure. All right. Number 6.
The RSU56 board has a positive board superintendent relationship. 60% agree, 40% partially agree. Comments include, I think the board and Pam have worked well together, especially when it comes to the budget and negotiations process. Some members are distrustful. I think the board needs to have a more connected, frank relationship with our superintendent where feedback flows back and forth. I believe there is tension and substantial distrust, and it should be addressed.
Comments? My only comment is, which I've always iterated, anybody has a question, you call, you email, you do get answered. And, that's especially not just me for the procedure part of a board or what we do. Pam knows it too. So, and I think, unless I'm mistaken, everybody that emails, you get answered and you get, you're looked into. You doesn't mean you like the answer, but you are listened.
I've never been ignored by Pam ever, and she could probably, if she would say it out loud, has gotten some emails where she might have gone, what? But she has always responded respectfully, or pass the ball to Barb where she felt the answer was more appropriate. So I have zero issue with that.
Thank you. 7,
The RSU 56 board has positive board community relationships. 66.7% agree, 33.3% partially agree. Comments. The board has always given the community the opportunity to voice their opinions. The board has always addressed issues that have been put to the board in a timely and honest manner. It is impossible to please everyone with decisions in today's world, but I think the board has done a good job listening to community input and making themselves accessible. I don't have any feedback that will tell me this. I believe that the board has little collective relationship with the community and tends to only see people when there are controversial issues at hand.
comments. My only comment is just like with the town, at least my town, if we don't hear from Dixfield, usually you know everything's okey doke, but if you hear from me, you know you're in trouble. That's just I try to be out there, at least me as a board member, but you know, I see the kids and the stuff, so I just feel they're very important. Nobody else? Number 8?
The RSU 56 board subcommittees function well. 77.8% agree, 22.2% partially agree. Committees are actively working to move the district forward. Good participation by board members and district staff administrators. I've learned a lot through attending different committee meetings and appreciate the meeting minutes being distributed to the board. And the second comment, too new to know.
Any comments on that? Go ahead.
This is probably a good time to address it. While I want to address the content of the policy meeting we had tonight, because I still think there's more work to do and plenty of discussion. Speaking to how effective the subcommittees are, I would say that it was a lively discussion tonight, that there was plenty of disagreement. I don't know if there's much agreement yet, but if anybody's wondering, you can always attend these committee meetings. They are open to the public. While I think it might make some people uncomfortable, and you don't just get to speak up there, you can more of an observer. I know Liz attends a lot of meetings and policy she's not on, or a committee she's not on. But if you're ever wondering the kind of stuff you don't see here, the rules aren't quite the same in a subcommittee meeting. And the conversation tends to be more frank, maybe more frank than some people would care for. But I would, maybe I'm begging for trouble here, but if you want to know what's going on, attend those meetings. I think they work well. I do. For what I've seen, I think they work well.
Any other comments? And then we have additional comments.
Yes, so the additional comments are, we seem to always have board members that have personal agendas as reasons to be on the board rather than concentrating on the relationships between students, community, and employees. We are working on agree to disagree, but we have too many personal agendas. Lean toward more transparency with the community. I feel that though the board members have disagreements and varying opinions, everyone there works in the interest of the taxpayers. I worry that the board is not aware of their authority to shape education. Often, like with the decisions around the book Gender Queer, excuses are made that are really just subterfuge so that we don't go on the record to directly address the issues at hand. I am concerned that as a teaching institution, we spend a great deal of time glossing over real issues, afraid to address topics like incessant focus on race and gender and not enough on pure education. More dialogue that is real and focused on classical liberal education is needed.
Does anybody have any just additional comments over the evaluation? When we talk about agree to disagree, go ahead, Larry.
I think we should be, as a board, aware that we do not try to shape education in our personal.
You gotta plug in the mic. Yeah. So they can hear online.
I think as a board, we should be very careful and aware that we don't try to shape our the education of our students and staff at RSU 56 with our own personal ideology. Thank you.
And as far as agree to disagree, when I first, think you were still an administrator. Yeah, you were. We couldn't even have a policy committee. It was considered a policy review. We actually did, we had Dick Babb come in. Oh, you remember Dick, because we had to figure out how we thought, what our, morals were, and how people came from different ways, how they think, how they respond. And it was very interesting that we even had a little thing about how to do meetings. And it was just remembering it's not personal and agree to disagree. Because when I was in the middle school last week, a little boy came to me and he goes, you guys fight over that. And I said, well, you got 12 people in the room. Do you think everybody's going to agree? He said, yes. I go, oh, no. People all think differently. So it's just remembering that. And like Joy said, we signed up for this. So, all right. And
I have one comment.
go ahead.
So we've done the self-evaluation. Probably might have been a little helpful to, and maybe I missed something, but to know that we were going to go over this out loud tonight. I might have missed something. So we've done a self-evaluation. We're doing a strategic plan. I have to wonder what next on the self-evaluation. Do we have a discussion about the feedback, and is it something that we think is actionable? Is there, what do we do to make it valuable?
Like if you feel like there's something like we need to work with, obviously we figured out orientation needs more detail, not just the guy from MSMA coming in and doing it. So we know that we need more prep on that. So that's one thing. And like if there was not knowing, for example, like we're going to start budget shortly. That's a big deal too, learning how. And like we could at each meeting go into more detail, maybe when we do the committee reports, saying this is actually what we do. Like the finance, they got to meet quarterly by law, but they also sign warrants and what that means and what it entails. And so I mean, that could help to get education. If there's something else that we need to work on, we could put it on like a little, not mini, but something we can add to the agenda to see, okay, this is a major issue. What can we do with that? Did that answer?
Yeah, I don't think there's a ton here that needs us to get fired up and go after it.
No.
I agree on the orientation piece. We could have a local orientation where we do it with each other. But I would say that any board members who feel like there's something actionable on here where we need to spend a little more time should speak up, or at least communicate with Barb and say, you know, hey, can we focus on this?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you. All right. Any other comments on this? Region old business, go ahead.
So the Region 9 updates would have happened last night, but they had a finance committee meeting tonight and both Bruce and Brian are on it. So they will give us an update at the next meeting. Strategic planning update. As you know, we've completed the surveys and we had a community forum and the strategic planning committee will be meeting next Monday, January 22nd, 5:30 in the high school library.
Keep going, superintendent's report, sorry.
Okay, so I'm happy to note that I was able, it seems like a long time ago, but it is only January. I'm happy to note that I was able to attend both the choir and the band concerts in December. We have 48 students in choir and 56 students in band from Derigo High School and the middle school. A huge shout out to Mr. Hamalainen, who provides music at the high school and the middle school, and Mrs. Webster, who develops the love of music at the elementary school. It's truly exciting to see music returned at that level and our Derigo schools. So thank you to them both. For the direction of the RSU56 Ad Hoc Board Committee, Diversity Day occurred at the high school and the elementary school yesterday, Tuesday, the 16th. We were excited about the array of speakers we had, from Operation Reboot to the Holocaust and Human Rights Center to Agency on Aging to Penobscot Nations. We had 14 different sessions scheduled at the high school, as well as a keynote and end note to start and end of the day. Unfortunately, with the early release, we were only able to have the keynote and 2 sessions during the day. So students were able to pick between the 14 sessions. So they saw 2 different sessions in that. Even with the shortened day, I think the experience was worthwhile. Teachers at the staff meeting this morning were like, that was really excellent yesterday, and the array of speakers was really solid. I do believe that the middle school is going to have one more day tomorrow to finish up the activities that they didn't get to finish on yesterday. So I also want to tell you that Brian Keene and I have worked and tried various of vape detectors at the high school. We currently have for Carter, which they seem to be working better than any that we've had to this point. I would like to designate funds from balance forward to install a full set in all of the bathrooms at Jericho High School. Would be approximately $15,000. And I'm wondering if the board might approve that under general consensus.
Is balance forward.
So that would be unexpended funds by the end of the year. We've just.
Oh,
No, fund balance forward is just what we have left over. So we have monies that we know from this year's budget that we're not spending, but to change it to a different direction, I would legally don't need to have board approval to do that. I could do it as the superintendent, but I have never done that and I don't want to get into that. I would rather come to the board and ask you to have general consensus. Can we rearrange this 15,000 out of what's going to be fund balance for this year and get these installed at the high school?
Brad?
What's the ongoing cost after they're installed?
Brian is not here. It's relatively slim because I don't even know what it is, Brad. I'm sorry to tell you that. Let me see if.
Maintenance upgrades, is it 5,000 a year to something? I don't know.
Jared, could you text him and we can get that by the time I finish this and then we can come back to that maybe?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, I did not
And,
get that.
and
piece of
it
information.
works,
Do
right?
they give you alerts? How does that work?
So it is, I feel a bit like Pavlov's dog because it pops up in my email that there's an alert in the bathroom. And then so the sensors are in the bathroom, the camera is just outside the bathroom door. So when people come out, the sensors go off, people come out, it takes pictures of the people coming out. So then I interview the people coming out. So it faces the door. It's in the hallway facing the door. And then I interview people and do searches as necessary. So does it work? Yes. Does it work when I'm away at a conference and not here to go and do the camera thing? Not so much because so I don't want this to get out too much, but I've busted like 8 or 10 and they've only been installed since we came back from break. And I hate to use the word busted. I have okay. So there's been that many people that I have found evidence of drug stuff on their bodies and they've had consequences for it. But this system works a lot better than any other system we have tried on a trial basis. So, okay. Okay, so that's the first 5 years. So 15,000, it was a little less than 15,000. Don't be surprised if Mr. Long is here in a short order asking for similar for the middle school, but I would like to get it installed at the high school and see how it goes for the rest of the year to see if it's worthwhile. I did mention that today as a former first grade teacher. There were not very many bag checks that I needed to do, which was nice.
So do you want a thumbs up or thumbs
I would like
down?
it under general consensus, yes,
Oh,
so that I
wait, Larry.
Quick question, Pam. Does this have anything to do with the board voting on that on March 21st, 2023 for the application process? Does that have anything to do with this, or is this just a new thing here?
I'm sorry, I'm not following what you're asking me.
Well, on March 21st, 2023, the board voted to get a loan application to do the main municipal bond bank. Is this part of that?
No,
Okay, so this doesn't have,
Has nothing to do with that.
okay, so this is still on hold for voting.
I'm not sure what that is, but it has nothing to, I would have to go back and review what you're referring to directly, but this has nothing to do with that.
That's
No.
what it goes back to what we voted down.
Yes.
The bathroom
correct. So
situation,
that-
yes, this is nothing to do with bathroom renovations that was voted down. This is simply vape detectors in the bathrooms that have cameras outside so that I
I
can,
just needed that clarified.
yes,
Thank you.
Yeah.
you're welcome. Any other questions about that before I continue?
Oh, we're
Oh,
gonna do
general
a-
consensus.
Can I get a consensus thumb up?
Yep.
Nat, thumb up?
My
or-
thumb is up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I have two other things. I have some questions around the sign at Derigo Elementary School. There's a sign at Derigo Elementary School that appears to be a political Biden sign. It is not, so I just want to be clear, as part of the, because Charlie, this is the confusion. Charlie called me one day and he's like, sent me a picture of it. He's like, did you put this up? And I'm like, no, please take it down. And then Kenny called me and said, Kim, you can't take it down. That's part of the PFAS grant that we received is part of that. And part of the grant process is that all projects with this funding, blah, 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 have to have the 6 foot by 4 foot physical sign, blah, 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 putting out there. So it's really about the PFAS money to upgrade and deal with the PFAS at
Can
the
I make a
elementary school.
recommendation to the grounds crew to place a large pile of snow in front of the sign? The sign will be up.
Where is it?
I got calls too.
So, yeah, it was interesting. Poor Charlie, he's like,
I
can I
drove
take
to
this
see
down?
it.
I'm like, yes, please do. Please
it
do.
up
We don't.
top?
It is up near the
Could
school.
we,
so.
could we relocate it, guys? Because I've also had a lot of people ask me about it. And I recognize that we need to have the sign up, but is there a way, right now, it's literally as you drive, like it's right there as you're driving up to the school. Is there a
I
way
will
that we could position it so it's not like quite so visible?
I will drive in tomorrow morning on my way to work and I will look at it and then I will ask Mr. Robbins or one of his crew to place it in a less conspicuous place.
You could put it on the back corner just behind it.
I just felt like I've heard enough from enough people that I wanted to be clear what it is and what it's doing there.
What, he's hit it with their car yet?
Don,
I just go back, we talked about this the other day. People are seeing this sign, but they're not reading it. If they would read it, they could answer their own questions.
Well, there
But
was,
we have to have it there.
And as a good public servant, I still will answer their questions when they send them to me instead of referring them to
Yeah,
read it,
I
but.
realize you have to do that, but sometimes if the people would read.
I get it
I-
though. Like
they'll
if you
be able
drive
to
up there and you see
understand.
something that says Biden really quickly, you think it's a political sign. So I get.
I think additionally, not only does it say the side of the picture here, I went to it. It says President Joe Biden. It is in the marketing format of his campaign. It does
Point
say,
of order,
it does say the.
point of order.
Hold on, Larry.
I would like, no, I was told that we're not supposed to do any kind of political
This is
talking
not-
in
this is-
here. You just quoted President
I'm
Biden.
reading what the
We
sign
need
says, Larry.
You said no political talking
So,
here.
I'm,
Larry, that's not what's going on.
Don said read it.
Yep.
He was gonna read it,
I'm
so
reading it so
I
people
didn't
can
read
hear
it.
And I'm expressing how I feel people might have been frustrated. Because a lot of people did say something and I thought it was like, holy crap, what's this sign? It says at the top, the bipartisan infrastructure law. It does say at the bottom, it has a logo of the state revolving loan fund and a state of Maine logo. It has an EPA logo on it. Not sure why that's there. I think people are probably saying, well, wait a minute, looks like a political ad because that is the vibe that it seems to have. And that's what people that have expressed it to me
So,
said. So
To get
Yeah,
our
Brad,
loan. with
Brad,
sign.
the,
Oh,
the EPA logo's on there, I think, because of the PFAS. Because the grant is associated with the PFAS
Water.
issue.
Right.
the water. All right, so move on.
Sorry. So I also want to just remind the board with these confusion around the storm days that we will not have a board meeting next week. Neither Bob nor Carl were here to run it. And so our next board meeting will be February 13th. And while I invite Gina to the podium, I will just go through the new hires and resignations. So we have Chelsea Jackson, recently hired as a special ed learning facilitator at Derigo Elementary School to replace a person that resigned right before Christmas. And Cindy Matthews is the Derico High School Secretary who started today. Thank you.
Good.
And then unfortunately, we do have the resignation of Nick Carvis as our athletic director, assistant principal at the end of his contract year.
He was here.
He
so
was here. I thought he was gonna read or say something, but
he
he's
went around the, I don't know where.
pretty busy.
All right.
But we'll have Gina go ahead.
And then tell you, thank you.
Now, there, okay, there we go. Okay, I'm hoping this isn't gonna be too long, but I did kind of go into a little detail because we have new school board members. So, wait, Jared has it. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go over an overview of the nutrition department. Jared, can you go to the second slide? There we go. Okay, so the nutrition department runs the National School Lunch, Breakfast Program, Lunch Program, the Child and Adult Care Food Program, or CACFP. You want to talk about acronyms, go with that program. The Fresh Fruit and Veggie Program, Smart Snack a la carte Program, the Summer Feeding Program, and the Food Distribution Program. And I'll go into a little detail about each one. Jared, yep, okay. For the breakfast program, as of yesterday, we had served 27,527 meals, and averages out to be 344 meals per day. And there is no cost to parents or guardians, because the state of Maine picks up the difference between the free student and the full pay. We are required to offer the fruit, milk, grain, fruit. Protein is optional. The students are required to take 3 items, one being a full fruit or vegetable offering, which is a half a cup. And the reimbursement rate for that is $2.50 for a meal. The lunch program, as of yesterday, we had served 38,471, or 480 meals per day averaging. And again, this is no cost to parents or guardians. And this, we are required to offer them 5 components. At breakfast, they need to take 3, and 2 of them could be a fruit. They could take a fruit and a juice, and it doesn't matter. With this, it needs to be 3 different things, sorry. So we need to offer the fruit, always milk, vegetable, grain, and meat alternate. Meat alternate would be like yogurt, cheese, something on that idea. Students must take at least 3 different components, so they'd have to take a fruit, a vegetable, and a grain or something, but they could go through with milk, fruit, and vegetable. And reimbursement is $4.34 for that one. And this, well, you really can't see it very well, but that is the middle school, high school menu for this month. And so let's just go back to the second. We offered chicken nuggets, but then on the side, you can see that we started with a new menu this year, that we have did theme days. So like Monday will be a chef's choice, Tuesday would be soup and a sandwich. There's Italian day, Asian inspired, American inspired. And basically I let the production manager decide what she wants to do, because what we have in the commodity freezer, she's trying to use that stuff up. So that has given them more options. They also normally have pizza available every day. There are salads, chef salads, yogurt parfaits. They kind of rotate different sandwiches. Hey, Jared, you want to switch? Okay, and the CACFP that we call the Derigo Super Snacks. The after-school snack is basically offered at the elementary school. It needs to be in conjunction with enrichment programs. We have served 1,264 meals as the December claim, and we get a reimbursement of $4.54. This one is a little higher than the regular lunch because they give us a little bit of money, cash in lieu of commodities. So instead of giving us food, they give us a little more money. That's fine, you can leave it up there. This is the menu for that, for the after-school program. We are required to put a menu out, and we have to say, and it has to have whole grain. Everything has to be whole grain on that one. We have to say that we're offering the milk choices on that day. It's a little more stringent than lunch program because the the yogurt requirement is only supposed to be so many sugars per grams, per ounces of yogurt, which I have it if you are really interested. Jerry, go ahead. And the fresh fruit and vegetable program, we're offering that again this year at the middle school and the elementary school. It is not offered to the high school level. We're not able to do that. But the program is funded by USDA and it's geared to qualifying 50% or higher free and reduced schools. It's to introduce different produce to students that wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. They've had a wide variety of star fruit, dino melons, dragon fruit, apples. We have normally Mondays were apples and we'll do different apples, citrus and grapes. Smart snacks or a la carte. It happens both at the middle school and high school. That is a cost because that's actually like a money maker for us. We offer drinks, chips, homemade cookies, ice cream products, and they all have to meet federal guidelines. We have to punch everything into a calculator that will tell us how much it is. Summer feeding, Brad, I put this up there because you had asked earlier. So that's our numbers for summer feeding this summer. Oh, you can't see. Okay, the summer feeding, we served 819 breakfasts, 1,296 lunches, and we had 30 children utilize in the weekend.
That's aggregate over the whole.
Yes, those are both, yeah. Yeah, but 30, so on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were able to send meals home. The Supply Chain Assistance Fund, because of the increase in cost for food, we were offered supply chain assistance, and we received $66,786.16. We are down to like $4,000, I believe, right at the moment. This started in March of 22, and we're mostly putting our milk bills to that because it's supposed to be minimally processed. There's all kinds of guidelines to it. Easier just putting in milk because we do spend enough. We did have local foods funds, state and federal. The federal we've already used. That was $3,925.77. We used that by November. The local funds, which I've spoke about before, we have $5,500, but every $3 we spend, I can ask for $1 reimbursement. And that's also minimally processed, but I cannot put milk to this, even though it's minimally processed. Commodity foods, we did go down quite a bit this year. Last year was because of COVID, but we received $25,855.32. And that goes towards brown box items, DOD fresh and NOI. So brown box would be like a full case of like chicken strips or canned fruit, frozen fruit, vegetables. The DOD fresh, we can put money into, I can order once a week from a central carrier, and they will bring fresh produce. And then NOI is, we are committing to buying so much end product. Say like we wanted to use a pre-made pizza sauce. We can kind of calculate how much we think we're going to use for the year, and we get a discount off from a case. So that's what the NOI means. Staffing, this is our staffing. There's myself. The elementary has 3 staff members from 5.5, 6 3/4 hours, and 7 hours. The middle school has 3 staff, 4 hours, 6 3/4, and 8, which is the production kitchen. So we actually ship meals out from there, the bigger meals. And the high school has two staff, 4 hours and 6 3/4 hours per day. We are fully staffed. We do have a few subs, but we could definitely use more if anybody's interested. The equipment assistance grant. We received $10,000 to help defray the cost of a dishwasher for the elementary school. This will cover a little more than half. It is we don't have it in the district yet, but we ordered it from Caprera and we're just waiting for installation. I did talk to somebody today, so I think we're hoping to get it in over February break for that. think there should be one more, isn't it? Jared, yep. Okay, training for staff. The staff were able to attend a day-long training in Mount Blue over the summer, which was arranged by their director, and they had nice skills to doing a fire extinguisher, which surprisingly nobody has ever done. So within our department, we have the 9 employees, eight of them hold a SNA certificate and 4 are CertSafe certified. To be SNA certified, you need 8 hours in nutrition, 8 hours in sanitation, and then each year you need to keep up on your continuing education. All the nutrition staff are required to complete continuing education annually, no matter if they hold a certificate or not. And it depends on what job they have or how many hours they have. And per contract, on the remote learning days, they are allowed to do online training. We do have a few girls that normally take us up on that, but it needs to be pre-approved by myself so that I can say whether or not it pertains to their position. Training grant. So we did receive a grant for a week long for 3 of us. It was myself. I took Ellen Kimball as she was the production manager, and we just did a luck of the draw on other people that would be willing to go. And Katrina Nutt went. It was in South Portland. We went, it was a week long. We drove down to South Portland, which afterwards we were like, we should have taken a hotel, but we did receive money to help pay for their time. It was centered on a different part of the meal each day. We did vegetables, sandwiches, salads, greens. It was nutrition education, culinary skills. It was very informative. I would highly recommend it to another district. And there is a little YouTube video if you guys care to watch. It's like 4 minutes long, so it's up to you guys. But is there any other questions?
I have a couple.
Go ahead, Brad.
I have 2.
Yep.
First one's going to sound a little sarcastic, but bear with me. Smart snacks,
Yep.
chips, cookies, ice cream products. What does SMART stand for?
So the Smart Snacks is an acronym from the state, and everything has to, wait, I have some of it.
You don't have to give a dissertation on it, but
Nope.
just, do
Nope.
those sound like very unhealthy things compared to what we're talking about?
So everything has to be whole grain. It has to be whole grain. The first ingredient needs to have to be a fruit or a vegetable or dairy. And then it has to be within so many calories per fat. And that's how, so we do offer, say, Doritos, but they're whole grain Doritos. They would not be anything you could walk across the street to buy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second most important question is, do you still serve chop suey with large chunks of hamburger?
No. You mean, oh, wait a minute, wait.
And what-
No,
what day is it?
maybe I took that wrong. We did have chop suey today. Yes, it did have a large chuck, but real hamburger. So I don't know if you're talking,
Is that a typical day? Because I need to visit.
well, no, that was a today day.
I thought it was school.
That was a day. No, I was thinking, because there is, they call them beef crumbles, which would be a brown box. And it was like a soy hamburger that they
Frozen.
chopped up. And that's what I thought you were referring to. No, we don't.
I would have to say, I've worked in restaurants quite a while. Restaurants are far less complicated than a school food program.
Yep. Yes. for sure.
Congrats on running that.
Thank you.
Don?
Yes, is it possible to get a paper copy of this or have
Yep.
it sent to my laptop?
Yeah, I can email it to you.
Yep,
Yep.
thank you.
And if you want to email your little YouTube thing.
Okay, yeah.
I would.
Yeah, because it's a 4 minute. It is interesting because they do a little overview of the whole week and different director, people that attended talked. It was interesting.
All right. I have 2 questions. One, how are we doing from scratch? Because I know we were trying to work on that. And
Yep.
2, I know it was in the newspaper about, do we participate where kids get money for the summer? Does it go through
The PEBT, I think you're talking.
Yes.
Some of ours did. If we had a student that was qualified for reduced or free meals, they did get the PEBT card.
Okay.
I think RSU 10, because they go with the provision 2, everybody got one. So it didn't matter on your
Okay.
financial status. And what was your other question?
Oh, about trying to
Oh,
do
yes.
from scratch.
Yes, a lot of what I said, the middle school, high school, that side, that's all scratch. yeah, we do a lot of scratch.
Any other questions? Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
Just so you know, Nick went to get gas and he said he'd like to do it another time. I think he he gets emotional. He's a good guy. All right, anything else for you? Go ahead, Don.
Okay, under old business. I
Okay,
presented everybody, we've had meetings. The negotiation committee, I met with them, I met with Mary. The $75,000 figure for the first go around on pay raises. And I said that night it wasn't right, and it's not. It come in at $158,439.91. And if we do like what I understand has been done in the past, they said 75, but the actual figure for the third year was $74,100.15. If you do that for the 3 years, that $75,000 we was told turns into $222,345 the taxpayers have got to pay. I think we've got to come up with a better way of doing this. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And from what I can understand from people that have been here a lot longer than I have, I guess this was the way things went. What I'd like to do is put an amendment or a proposal out that everything that we vote on has to have dollars and cents, and everything has to be included in that. If you're voting a 3-year contract, everything is gonna be in there. Because from $74,000 to, we end up at $222,000 for the taxpayers. This is not the way we should be doing business.
okay, so, because it's been a while since we discussed this. What, if I remember, and Pam, you can help me in the other negotiation, is we did what the increase was. We didn't add the base. You're adding the base and the increase. Is that correct? I can't remember.
No, so this is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Dawn, but this is what I believe we've talked to Dawn about, that. So let's say, I'm just gonna use round, easy numbers for tonight. Let's just say that an employee gets on the first year of a new contract, they get, I'm gonna say $1,000. So in their percentage, it ends up to be exactly $1,000, because that's easy for me to wrap my head around. So we always look at, so in the first year, they get $1,000. Let's say the second year, they get $500, and the third year, they get $500 increase. So we look at it as it's the increase to the first year of the budget is $1,000. The increase to the budget for the next year is $500, and the increase to the budget the following year is $500. But the way Dawn is looking at it, and he's not incorrect, is you continue to pay that $1,000 the first year. So you do pay that $1,000 over the 3 years, so that would be $3,000. You do pay the $500 increase the second year, and you keep it the third year, and then you add the $500 for the third year. So, but we do it like most businesses do it. Like once you, like if you worked at the mill and you got a 2% raise, you get a 2% raise. And then the next year you get a 2% raise. They don't consider you getting a 2 plus 2 because you've already got that 2% in year one. So we have always said what the increase is from year to year and not compounded. So the way Dawn is looking at it, it's compounding that total cost over the 3 years. I think that's as clear as I can be unless somebody has something to add to that.
Go ahead, Brad.
You can clarify that, but what I'm looking at is what we pay them from 23, 24 up to 26, 27. That's the total dollar amount we're paying them, is $158,439.91, and I don't know why we only raised it up according to what it was voted that night, about $75,000.
I think we're all saying the same thing. Because I don't think Don's numbers is wrong, but when you give someone a raise, let's say they started at 50,000 and then next year you give them a $500 raise. Well, you don't keep backing them off from that raise and taking their money away every year and then giving them their increase. That's, so every year, yes, paying employees does cost more money. So we only added 75,000 and change, but in reality, every time you give someone a raise, now next year, you're raising them on the raised amount from their previous salary. So yes, you are spending more money, but we didn't give them a $258,000 raise collectively. That's not what happened.
You
Yeah.
did on a 3-year contract.
No, we didn't give them all a $258,000 total raise.
Heck, the numbers are right here.
I think we're all saying the same thing. And unfortunately, I think that we are going to get nowhere with this because we've been through this for a couple months now.
Well, you stop and figure it this way. What I was told is what you done back along. They were gonna take the 74,115 cents, put that every year on there. The first year, their pay raises was only gonna come in at $29,697.09. That's for the 7 people. The second year, it came in at $54,642.64. The third year is $100.15. You're putting that 74,115 on all 3 years. You add that all up, the total cost is gonna be $222,300.15. You did give them a pay raise in them 3 years, $158,439.91. And the figures are right here that you put it in the back of the book.
But it's not accurate, Don, actually, is we're including what we're already paying them. They're already paying their
On
salaries.
what you are paying them, I took the base salary. The first year, second year, and third year, you are paying them a grand total of $158,000. And you can tell me I'm wrong, but I'm
So,
telling you, I get the figures right here.
Just a quick question. After the first year, do you think the base changes?
Well, it does.
Like the first year,
It doesn't change. I took what the base, what they're gonna get the first year, what they get in the second year, and what they get in the
Okay.
third year.
so when we look at our budget coming up, the first year's, well, it's not, but when the first budget is come, it will show, like it always shows, how much we pay for salaries. And it will show the salaries, then you'll know the increase, but the base changes because
I didn't change the base because I was doing the percentage. What you are going to pay them, these numbers that I come up with are what you pay each one of the 3 years. The total difference from what they're getting paid today, what they'll have in the end of the 3 years, is
So how
$158,000.
do we do an increase of a salary? How do you see it?
You can increase their salary, but what I'm saying is you increased it this much. We was told it was a $75,000.
The increase from the original base. And each year the base changes because the first year is on to the second base.
That's right. And when that base changes from the first year to the second year, you're paying them the second year that plus what you're adding on.
So, correct. So what is it you feel we should do when we have employees for us to stay competitive, and we are not paying top rate? What is it you think well, just so you know, they got double digits other places. And we didn't touch. So, but I think, are you saying just give us the whole big amount of after 3 years?
This is what
For
you're
what-
giving them.
It is the total amount after. When we're negotiating, we know what the base is. We're negotiating increases.
Yeah. And this is the total of the increases that we giving them.
Okay. So,
What I'm saying is, when we voted on that, we was told it was approximately $75,000 that you would think would be going the money, 75,000, and we had one of our school board members ask where the money was coming from. Well, it's taxpayers' money. It's not 75,000.
is it?
You could say 75,000 as long as you tell them the 3 years. But if you do that, then you're coming back out at the $22,345, 45 cents, excuse me.
Liz,
Is it the language that, is it the language that was used that you're finding fault with?
No.
Or the
it-
raises that,
It's the dollar amount. If you're gonna sit here and have the school board members vote for $75,000, it is $75,000, but you gotta explain exactly where the money is going.
so in other words, you'd like to have the explanation more clear
What we should have is exactly what that contract is costing the taxpayer
over 3 years.
over the 3 years.
So it's really the language and not the fact that you're finding fault
The language doesn't matter. I'm looking at what we're paying, the,
or how we figure it out.
it's easy to figure out. I mean, I know we've argued this a lot of times. I met with Mary. Mary said I was on. And I know I met with you guys. You was pretty good. Brad still don't believe me. Mr. Chow, I know doesn't
well,
believe me.
it's not that I don't believe you, but I just don't see the solution. In my mind, I know what our budget was for the year for the things, each group. So I know when you have an increase, you have an increase for the year. I'm not gonna, and I know because that means we're paying, our salaries will go up if we want to pay more.
All right. If you raise this up $74,100.15 for 3 years, what's that gonna come out to?
I don't have the figures for me because I don't understand your solution is we're paying too much.
I did not say that.
Okay, then that you
Can I call
want.
the question on this, guys?
I'm gonna be a
can-
board member. When you tell us it's gonna cost us $75,000 for a contract, and you don't necessarily have to be to the penny, but when you go from $75,000, what you gotta tell us is that contract is costing them $222,345. There's a big difference. I know the 75,000, but if you look at it the way you guys have said that you've done it in the past, you have gonna come out with $63,860.54 of leftover money at the end of the 3-year contract. And I realize where the money goes. I understand that part. But the taxpayers are on the hook for that total amount.
I liked Pam's description because she gets to sit aside and listen to us all go back and forth. And I remember you saying something to the effect of we're all saying the same thing. For my part, we were saying over a 3-year contract, those folks will, between them, receive $75,000 additional dollars. But then you still have to pay them what they've always been paid. So when you add them together, I would imagine that, because I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, it is going to be a bigger number, but we're only increasing their collective pay by $75,000 in that 3-year period. So I think, I know what you're saying. It's not disbelieving. I think it's just coming to a conclusion, like Liz says, on language.
The increased pay on the 3rd year is $74,100, and I come out at 18 cents. That's just for the 3rd year. The other 2 years, you add them up, and that's where you come up with $158,439.
Natalie?
Can I call the question on this to vote to move on? Because I appreciate the comments and I appreciate the discussion, but I think at this point we've probably circled around, and I agree that we're probably saying the same thing, but I don't know that we're going to come to a solution or resolution.
Pam, quick.
Yep. So I just want to say that I think Mary and I have figured out how to make this clearer for the board and anybody that needs it. So we have our new sheet, and I think you might have the sheet from that night as well. I can't remember which contract that was from, but we're trying to now show you, like, this was the 23-24 salary, and then whatever increase, the total cost of that increase for year 1, that increase for the second year total cost, increase for the third year total cost, and then the total increase over 3 years. So we're trying to be super clear with that because we're not trying to hide anything, but when you give somebody a raise in year one, yes, they're going to continue to get that increase in year two, but we just don't look at that as a add-on to that next year's budget. We just move up from there. So I think when we get to the one for tonight, Dawn, I think when we show it to you, maybe it will help to understand, like, we are saying the same thing. What you're saying is correct. It's just, it's a different way to look at it in the budget. So we're trying to be as clear as possible when we move into tonight's executive session.
Larry?
I'm not a math person by any means or any amount. But I think what Don's saying is that what you said and what Don said and what Brad said is the same thing, but the way you have it set up is 5% in 2024, 4% in 25, 26, and 3%. The community only sees percents. They don't see a bottom line. They don't see a dollar amount. When you said $75,000, yes, but then all of a sudden there's a percentage raise that they don't see. And correct me if I'm wrong, Don, or anybody correct me, that's what I'm hearing. Is they're not seeing that it's actually $222,300. They're just seeing percents. So they see 74,000 and then they see percents, but they don't see the total bottom line. Is that
Okay.
And so I guess what Don's saying is instead of percentages, let them see the total amount of that contract. I know that it would confuse me. Don's explained it to me 3 times and it still confused me. But I think that's what he's saying. Instead of having a percentage, put a bottom line. Because they see the 74,000, no, that's not bad. But in reality, the 3-year contract is 222,000.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good perspective. We've already had committee reports. We've had the student, oh, did I miss one? Oh, yeah. Policy, we did meet. We will be meeting soon. We are working on revision or having discussion. But we did get one done. Finance, Don?
Don't think we scheduled, I don't have it right with me. Cal, I scheduled it the other day, Mary and Cal, and I just got it.
Okay, so they'll get, the finance committee will get an email. All right, curriculum?
Yeah, we have a meeting on the 23rd scheduled, and there'll be some additional discussion around a social studies history curriculum, which according to Jason, I agree is sorely in need of establishing, and some additional discussion around math resources and how that's going to move forward. So once we have something more concrete, we'll certainly report back.
Question?
Yeah.
You said the 23rd? Since we're not having a board meeting, we're still gonna have the curriculum meeting.
That's what Jason's requested. It could change, but especially if there's weather, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you got good weather, you better. Sorry, Don, I was thinking you were finance. Carl's not here, but you are buildings and grounds.
We had a meeting the other day. Kenny went over the bunch of stuff with us, stuff they got coming up on some control.
Can you use the mic so that Natalie can
sorry.
hear them?
Thank
Uh,
you.
They've got some figures for next year on the diesel fuel and heating, but they was told to kind of hang off because they think they're gonna go down even a little bit lower, which is very good news.
Yep.
Our buildings have all been inspected by the state and they've all passed with flying colors. We went over a bunch of other different systems and stuff. Our next meeting is gonna be scheduled for March 21st. We thought we would tour the schools. Now we've decided we'll come back here because the classes are going on. You can't, get around too easy with the kids there and stuff, so, we'll be back here from now on.
All right, thank you. Negotiations, we have results tonight and we only have one left and we have not heard from them. Personnel, Natalie?
I think we need to reschedule because we were planning for next Tuesday. So I'll send an email around. We'll need to come up with a different date probably for that one.
All right, what? Oh, did you say the 13th of February at the last meeting?
Did I? Maybe I did. I was thinking we were on, I thought we were on for next Tuesday.
Yeah,
Did we move it because of curriculum?
yes.
If we're on for February 13th, that sounds perfect.
All right, good. You're in town, right?
I will be here.
Okay, ad hoc committee, I know we met. We haven't, we haven't set a date yet. All right, thank you. Board member comments.
I don't have a lot, but a couple of questions. As it relates to Brandy Bordeaux's comments earlier, she made a couple of requests, and it just got me thinking. First thing, for what I know of where those comments came from, there was an incident in the middle school bathroom at a basketball game, where there was a male student in the female's bathroom, and they were upset. Some of and there certainly has been a lot of talk about it, but I have a couple of questions. We had said that parents can go into the public restrooms. I got to challenge that, I guess. The dad that comes in with the female daughter, does he bring her into the men's room, or does he go into the ladies' room? It's a real question, and it's not meant to be inflammatory. We've created enough confusion now where nobody knows their ass from their elbow with this stuff. I think it's something we should think about. Common sense, I would say, if mom was around, mom might take the daughter to the ladies' room, and the man would take his sons to the men's room, but there are single parents. The other is, I would hope we would not be putting locks on the elementary school doors. We probably don't want 7-year-olds, 5-year-olds locking themselves in the bathroom.
The elementary school doesn't actually have doors in the entrance to their
Okay,
bathrooms.
I thought so. Yeah. Okay, but the public restroom thing is, I don't think it's a good solution about having parents go in and trying to make that decision. It also seems convoluted and probably frustrating for Mr. Long to have to worry about an event where there's lots of people who need to use the bathroom, and then, what if Johnny goes in and he needs 8 minutes and somebody needs 2 minutes and somebody's really not feeling good, and it just creates so much confusion and frustration. If we could just simply simplify things, you go in the bathroom, that your biological sex is, and keep it simple. But this is an issue that needs to be addressed in this community in an open, and there has to be dialogue, because we're never going to solve this if we don't. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, I'm not gonna, we'll discuss. Anybody else, board member comments? My board member comment is, above all, we may have policies, we may have procedures, but like I said before, we have to follow law. We can't just ignore federal law or state law. Then we're in violation. And I think we've been really good trying to work around things and trying to get where we're still following law. That is something we need to do. We just can't, ignore the laws we can, but
I think that the law, as it pertains to bathroom usage, requires that someone have a formal diagnosis by a qualified professional as being having identity issues.
okay.
And
So,
but I just want us to be really careful that we're not glossing over this, because all indications are this is going to explode into a giant issue locally, and we would do well to hit it head on and not gloss it over.
okay. Liz?
Yeah, what did you say that, I might have missed it? Somebody said what Jason was doing up there.
I know Jason because he sent me an email that he sat outside.
So we have somebody
monitoring.
monitoring.
Which, that's not his job.
No, I know, I
No, and
understand
we
that,
can't
but-
afford to have someone, but he is always very conscientious of his
Right.
building.
So when a child has to go to the bathroom, do they go to the office and then they say they're going into the bathroom and Jason goes and stands outside?
I have no idea how that went. I know that was one time. He was right there. I think he wasn't in the office. I think he sat outside the bathroom. So, Larry?
Just to follow up what Barb said, that we are following the law federally and state. Title IV of the Civil Rights Code in 1964 says students have the right to use the bathroom of their choice. Unfortunately, and that's what Pam's trying to rectify, we don't have the structures in place right now. But they do have that right under law. I just thought I'd put that on for the record, and I do want to see that on the record.
So any other public comment? I meant board member comment. All right. Seeing none, I'm going to enter into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA subsection 10 to discuss the ed tech / speech assistant contract. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second? Do we vote? All those, roll call.
Dawn,
Yes.
Larry, Kathleen,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes.
Tim, Natalie,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Liz.
Yes.
Jared, can you send me the link to log into the executive session? Or is it the same one?
So everybody has to leave because we're going into executive session. And we're switching over. And it will take a minute. So if you gotta go to the bathroom. Oh, he's gonna send you an email.
Okay, perfect. Just got it. I'll sign off this one and I'll log in the other.
Brian. I'm supposed to ask you, computer. Oh, no,
I can remember.
We are back in session. Could I entertain a motion?
I would entertain a motion that we approve the ed tech / what am I missing?
Best speech assistant.
Speech assistant contract
Mhm.
as agreed to.
All right, do I have a second? Comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call?
Don,
Yes.
Larry, Kathleen,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes.
Tim, Natalie,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Liz.
Yes. A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Don,
Yes.
Larry, Kathleen,
Yes.
Joy, Tim, Natalie,
Yes.
Barbara.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Liz.
Yes. Good night. And
Bye,
Dawn,
guys.
I just have to think, I hate